Welcome to today's Fit Facts podcast. Today's episode is all about how to make your health a priority. Now, Brandon, both of us are guys who we prioritize our health. It's definitely important, and we try to make sure that we live a healthy lifestyle. But we also enjoy, I just realized I'm sucking this mint. Hopefully that's not bothering the mic. Anyway, we're two guys, we both like living healthy lifestyles, and that is very important to us. But we also enjoy, having a beer on the weekends,
having
maybe
a few shots also,
some
shots,
bombs, having some pizza. We do enjoy that as well. So today's episode is all about how to make your health a priority, but to do it in a sustainable way.
Exactly. We're going to talk about how we do it sustainably, and we also have fun with it as well. Just because a lot of people might think, oh, being healthy is boring, blah, blah, blah. But you actually make healthy more fun. And honestly, this will be another topic for another episode, but being healthy is actually going to improve your life as well. All right, so the first tip for today is going to be implementing sustainable, healthy habits. All right, the key word right there is sustainable, because you want to be gradual going into your new healthy lifestyle. You don't want to go from 0 times a week into the gym and then out of nowhere you're going 7 times into the gym. All right, so you have to see what's sustainable for you.
Totally, because I know so many people, especially when I do an initial client consultation with someone.
Yeah.
Almost always when I say, how many days a week do you want to work out? It's at least 4, sometimes 5 or 6. And then I'll ask them, I'll say, okay, what is an amount of working out every week that you could do for the rest of your life? And then when you frame it like that, usually they drop down to 2 or 3 because they realize, oh, that amount isn't sustainable, especially when they've come from a place where they're working out like 0 times a week, 1, 2 times a week. Yeah, like that's great if you want to do 5 or 6, but let's just start at something that's more attainable for you. You can achieve that and then kind of build off that momentum down the line rather than shooting for the stars and getting really demotivated because you didn't make it or you fell off a little early.
Exactly, and like even with me when I have clients coming in for consults, they come in at their most motivated.
Exactly.
Like they either finished a big project at work or their kid did something really awesome, like graduate high school or whatever, and they're like, you know what, I need to do something with my life now. So let me go into the gym, or maybe they just finished watching the new Creed movie or something.
Yeah.
So let me go to the gym, get a trainer.
Yeah, they're like, Johnny just got into Berkeley. I need to get jacked.
I know, exactly, right? Yeah, so you kind of have to see what their scenario is, because they might be in a time in their life where they have low stress levels right now. So you have to kind of ask them, hey, later on in life, could you see yourself be doing 5 times a week or 6 times a week with me still? Like, let's say you have family emergencies and your work gets busy all the time.
Yeah.
Are you still able to see me 6 times a week? So I'm glad that you said that.
Exactly, yeah. So we got to build in gradually, and then obviously we're building to whatever our goal is. But whatever that goal is, we need to make sure that it's a realistic goal. So that's kind of ties in with that other point, Maybe it is realistic that we can, down the line, work out 5 days a week, but it's going to take some time for us to get there.
Exactly. And speaking of realistic goals, we also go off something called SMART goals, which is what I advise you guys at home listening to try to utilize when you're creating any kind of healthy habit or fitness goals. So with SMART goals, the S is for specific, M is for measurable, A, attainable, R, realistic, T, time-bound.
So let's break those down real quick.
All right.
Yeah, so for specific, obviously, you need to know what you want to accomplish. And to go a little deeper, too, also, I would recommend knowing why you want to accomplish it.
True.
Because if you don't have a good why, it's not going to be urgent enough for you to do. So maybe you want to get into shape and live a healthier lifestyle because you have a child and you want to see that child go to college, grow up, have a family. You want to witness all that. So that's your why. That's a pretty strong why.
Oh, yeah.
If your why is just, I want to look jacked, it's not that strong of a why. For most people, you probably aren't setting yourself up for success. So know your why and then make a very specific goal after that. An example would be, over the next 12 weeks, I want to exercise, or I want to get into the gym 2 times a week. That's a specific why. You can really clearly see if you did it or if you didn't do it.
Exactly. And next one is going to be measurable. So that's the M in SMART. And measurable means it has to be a little objective, as in something like an actual number that you can see. So let's say your goal is, I want to build some muscle within 6 weeks or whatever. That's not really measurable because building muscle is not something that you can. I mean, you could probably look at someone and be like, "Oh, you built muscle," but you want something objective, like whether it could be weight wise or whether it could be, can you bench press like maybe 275 in 6 weeks? That could be one way to measure if you built muscle or not. Or the other way could also be circumference measurements, putting a tape measure around the arms, legs, chest, waist, you name it. So that's one way to be measurable. It just gives you a little more objective feedback. Also make sure that you're staying on the right track when you're being more measurable with your goals.
Totally. I mean, I know that for my clients and myself too. In the beginning when I was a trainer, and I just, trained them, and we wouldn't do any really official check-ins otherwise, other than like the scale a little bit. And at the end of the, 2-3 months of first training with me, they'd be like, yeah, I feel like I look a lot better. I think I'm seeing changes. People are making comments. I was a little unsure. When I started incorporating, monthly circumference measurements where we'd measure their biceps, their chest, their waist, things like that, they got really excited because they could actually quantify, wow, my chest is 2 inches bigger.
Yeah.
My waist is 3 inches smaller.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously I feel better, all these less tangible things. But it was nice to have those measurable goals. So like Brandon said, a performance goal could be really good for you, whether it's I want to run 30 miles over the next 2 months total, or I want to bench 275 pounds.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, you want something measurable so that at the end of the time period, did I achieve this or not? And then the next goal is going to be attainable. It needs to be attainable. So for me personally, if I set a goal and I said I want to run a 100-mile race within the next month, that is specific. That's measurable.
It is.
It's not attainable for me though. So I'd maybe I could do that in 6 months or a year. I don't know, but you want to set a goal that's actually attainable so you're not setting yourself up for failure.
Exactly. So one thing could be, if this is a good example right here. I had a client a few months ago saying, he just had a knee replacement, so more rehab kind of, and he was telling me he just got out of surgery a week ago, and he's all like, you know what? I want to start playing basketball next month. I was like, hey, I don't know about that, but I kind of had to tell him like, I had to explain like the process of the healing stage. Like, hey, you have to gain motion first within the first month, then the next few months is strength, and then how you're going to jump and all that. So I kind of had to explain to him that's not really attainable because that's how your specific situation is. So that's what we mean by attainable. It's very specific to the person.
Yeah, and just building off these SMART goals, like Brandon was saying, if he had set that goal of I want to play basketball in 1 month, he would have failed that goal, that specific guy. He would have become probably demotivated or maybe a little depressed because he didn't obtain that goal, and that would have further made it harder for him to fully recover as fast. So again, these are all really important if we want to actually succeed. The next one is realistic. Is it realistic for you? So this is kind of similar to attainable, but rather than can I do it, more think like, is it worth doing in the context of my lifestyle? I could definitely gain, you lose a ton of body fat over the next month, become super shredded. That's attainable, but is it realistic for my lifestyle? No. The amount of, calories I would have to cut, all these things to do it in that short of a period, I would feel like garbage, my relationships would be negatively affected, all these things. Oh, yeah. So, Brandon right now, he's shredding, he's getting those abs, but he's done it over a longer period where it's not like he tried to do it in 1 month and now his whole life is shutting down.
Exactly, yeah, because for me, it's a little hard for me to lose weight. So when I was working with my nutrition coach, we kind of set a goal for a longer, 4 months, because in 3 months or 2 months, I don't think that would have been possible. I probably would have maybe looked the same, or it would have been too quick, maybe lost too much muscle. But now, since we kind of prolonged it another month, I'm able to kind of meet the goal a little better at a more enjoyable pace. So that's what we mean by realistic. Also, just want to go back to what we said about getting into it gradually. This is where the realism comes in. Let's say you're someone who's working out maybe 2 times a week, has 5 kids, busy on the weekends, has a high demanding job. Can you really realistically lose weight in 2 months? Would that maybe, but yeah. I want you to consider all the other lifestyles. Let's say your kids have a graduation or an event you have to go to. Your job has to put you on an important project. realistically, will you still be able to do it? So that's why you should maybe consider like thinking of a longer stretch for your realistic goal.
Totally.
Yep. Now, next one is going to be time bound. So all these examples we've had before, they all had something very similar, which is time. You always want to add a time, like a deadline, to any goal you have. And it doesn't even have to be fitness, even for like business or like for like a relationship event or whatever. Time is very important because it kind of gives you that sense of urgency of like, hey, I have to push to meet this goal by December, by November. All right? Because if you keep delaying the time, if you're easy with yourself on the time, let's say like, oh, I want to lose weight in
someday.
someday. Or like, you even have to be specific with the time. Like, you can't say, I want to lose weight in the summer. So summer is like 3 months. That's like June, July, August. Some people even consider September summer. So like, let's say I'm going to say, oh, I want to lose weight in the winter. So right now it's September. It's August.
The winter of 2030.
I know, right? For real. Right now it's August. I'm like, okay, I'm on a good track right now. It's September, October. I'm like, you know what? I don't think I'm on track right now. So maybe let me prolong it to January. So that's what happens when you don't like set a specific time for yourself. You kind of leave yourself unaccountable, or you kind of stay too flexible. If that makes sense.
Totally. Yeah. You need that urgency, and we're not saying that realistically you may have to adapt. So it's possible you may have to change the time constraints on the goal, but set that initial time bound goal. So those were all the different components of SMART goals. One thing to point out there is SMART goals are really good to help you set a goal. But when we're trying to obtain a healthier lifestyle, it's not all about goals. These goals will help you along the way, but we're really trying to set up a lifestyle which becomes the default for you. So, initially when I was building that exercise routine that I'm now really used to, I had to set goals for myself. I'm going to get into the gym 3 days a week, and that really helped me start and spur that habit. Now I'm at a point where it's just part of my lifestyle. I don't really set goals with that. I might set more specific performance goals, like I want to do this much weight, really specific goals. But as far as just getting into the gym and working out consistently, that's a lifestyle part now, and I enjoy it. It makes me feel good, so it's easy to keep up with.
Exactly. And speaking of enjoying this lifestyle, now we're going to tell you how to make this lifestyle a little more enjoyable. Gabe, why don't you go ahead and start us off with that?
Yeah, so fitness, a healthy lifestyle, all that, it's genuinely fun for Brandon and me. We like it, and that's why we're successful with it, is because in the past, when I was younger, it felt more like a chore, and it was honestly something that I kind of dreaded and avoided, but now I love it. And one thing that's really helped me is focusing on the positive things that I get out of it. An example is when I exercise, I feel more energetic, I feel happier, I sleep better, my mental health is better, I look better. So all these things I really like, and I think, for me, even if I was at a point where I wasn't necessarily enjoying the process of being in the gym and lifting weights, objectively, when I think about it, I'm like, okay, that sacrifice of going into the gym, it's really worth it for all those positive benefits that I'm getting out of it.
Exactly.
I mean, what are some other positive benefits you experience from like your exercise routine, your diet, just your lifestyle?
Yeah, I would say like I like how when I go to the gym, like especially when I was a student, I'd be super stressed, so I would leave the gym for like the end of the day after class or after a big exam. I would straight up go into the gym and just like use that as like a stress reliever. Just like do like a 5 rep max. I mean, it's kind of bad to say. Just 5 rep max after every exam, just to kind of get that energy out of the way, and I'd feel so much better.
Yeah.
Yep. And I would even use kind of like working out in the beginning of my day. So if I put working out at the beginning of my day, I still feel more focused and energized to be able to take on like whatever obstacle is there for me throughout the day.
Totally.
So those are some good benefits right there.
Yeah, and for me now, it's like working out is something I look forward to.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like falling asleep the night before, like thinking about what I'm going to be doing into the gym the next day because I'm so excited about it. So that mindset will slowly shift over time, and eventually you'll really enjoy the process. And speaking also about what is enjoyable, I recommend doing what's enjoyable over what is optimal per se. So an example of that would be oftentimes people fall into the trap of like, what is the best diet? What is the best way to lift weights? Like, should I do 5 sets of 5s? Should I do high reps? Should I run? Should I walk? Like, what is the most optimal thing to get to my goals? the most optimal thing is going to be what's most enjoyable for you because you'll be consistent with what you like. So, for example, I kind of hate running, so I don't run. I take a lot of walks. I like to go hiking. I like to swim. But I hate running, so I just don't do it because I know that, it's not essential for me to run. I need to do some form of cardiovascular activity for my health, but I find other ways that I like more. And that would be the same with lifting. If somebody really doesn't like lifting weights, they could do calisthenics. They could do body weight training instead. Yep. You need to do some form of resistance training. But if you like it, you're going to be way more consistent with it.
Exactly, that's true. Yeah, same for me. I don't like running at all. So my main cardio is either taking like those 10-minute walk breaks while I'm working, or just going on the Stairmaster. I do love the Stairmaster a little better.
And on the Stairmaster, you can like watch some YouTube.
Exactly,
like, multitask a little bit.
Exactly, I could be working. Yeah. I could be talking to people, FaceTiming, all of that stuff. And so, yeah, you want to do those enjoyable things. Instead of what's optimal, just so because it's gonna kind of be carried out through your behavior throughout the whole lifespan for yourself. And also, speaking of your whole lifespan for yourself, you also go on vacations as well. So some people think like, oh, I'm gonna have a healthy lifestyle. That means I can't do fun things on a vacation. I can't really drink as much. I can't really go to the nightlife as much. But actually, you can. You just have to be smart in preparing for those vacations or those social events. So an example could be you can go to an extreme to where you get a Airbnb or a gym, or Airbnb or hotel that has a gym in there, and you could still follow a workout program, and you could probably work out in the beginning of your day. Or you could do that or plan active events in your vacation. Like an example could be hiking, going kayaking, if you do any rock climbing or anything, or even just like walking to go like sightseeing. Let's say you're going to like a big city like New York. You can go walk around Central Park. I guess it's a long ass walk.
Walking from bar to bar.
Walking bar to bar, exactly. Yeah, so if you're gonna be in like a big city, you could do a lot of more walking stuff. Like even taking walking tours. I know every city, every tourist spot for sure has walking tours. Or
That's
even
a good idea, though.
or even walking around the hotel lobby. Yeah, so all of those could still make your vacation more fun, or those like life social events more fun. And even when we're talking about food, you could also, I know especially when you go to like certain countries, people want to taste the different kinds of foods or whatever. But what you could do is you can definitely enjoy the food there still, because that's still part of the culture. That's part of the vacation. You don't want to restrict yourself and be like, oh, I don't want to eat this kind of food here because it's going to ruin like my whole like diet and training or whatever. But you could still eat it and try it, but you don't want to indulge into it. Like you don't want to be binging it and being like, oh, this is some awesome eel. I mean, I just watched
10 pounds of eel.
Yeah, I know. I just watched a Netflix street food show where it was in the Philippines. They made eel soup.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit, this is actually kind of interesting. I'm not gonna say anything else, but yeah, it's kind of interesting. So it's like you want to pretty much try it if you want. And then you could either save the rest for leftovers for the next day. So that's one way to kind of manage your nutrition during vacation.
Yeah.
Do you have any nutrition tips for vacation? Or
well, what I'll say is I really liked how you said you could schedule your activities.
Yeah.
So like, just say, okay, I'm going to be on vacation in Aruba for 7 days.
Yeah.
And kind of work in these fun ways to stay active, knowing that you might not be on the same lifting or exercise program that you were on when you were back home.
Yeah.
And that's okay, because this is, vacation.
Exactly.
Things are going to change. You need to be flexible with yourself, but you can still make sure that you have time to stay active. And then as far as diet stuff, I would just say don't stress. If you come into the vacation feeling like A, you have to be perfect and stay on your diet, or B, that this is your only time that you get to enjoy yourself and then you have to go home and be perfect, you're setting yourself up for failure. You're going to really hate the vacation, or you're going to end up just binging tons of food because you feel like this is my only chance I get to eat. But if you're more balanced about it and you understand that I can always have these types of foods, this is okay. I'm going to be on vacation. I'm going to be a little less strict. That's fine. But I'm not going to take it to an extreme. I'm still going to eat in ways that makes my body feel good.